Hey, it's London. This is Butler's Wharf.
I remember. And we said goodbye all those years ago.
I haven't been back here since.
Are you all right?
Gives me the shivers. At least they've cleaned it up. This place used to be a dump. Why has the TARDIS brought us back here?
Unfinished business. Maybe it knows something we don't. Or perhaps it's found us a nice restaurant.
And that jarring cacophony tells you that once again you're listening to The Power of Three, the Scottish Doctor Who podcast without portfolio. I'm David Steele, welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And I'm delighted that in this edition it is our original three, the founding fathers, if you like, the Hartnell, Troughton and Pertwee of The Power of Three. I'm joined, of course, by that man, that prince among men who has become the backbone of this whole enterprise. Say hello, Kenny Smith.
Hello, Kenny Smith.
And the man whose idea it was to do this podcast in the first place many, many years ago. A picture on the day of recording, a photograph of the three of us from 2019 popped up on my time hop, and it's alarming how much the three of us have aged in 6 years. But there you say hello, Tom Harris.
Hello, Tom Harris. If we're the three originals, can I be Pertwee?
Yeah, I want to be Bill.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I can play the recorder, so I'm sorted.
That's excellent. There we go. Good. I'm glad we got that sorted out. Well, listeners, thank you for joining us. We'll see you again soon. No, I'm just kidding. Listeners, we're here, obviously, and we must apologise for taking so long to get this out, because normally we're very on the ball, but we're all very busy at this time of year. Season 21 is coming out in Blu-ray in a few months. We probably all expected this to happen, but it's been officially announced with an amazing trailer, which had my jaw on the floor, quite frankly. It was. They've done quite a few of these little short dramas in these trailers, but this one featuring Peter Davison, Janet Fielding and Mark Strickson on location, where they filmed Resurrection of the Daleks, featuring Daleks, was just amazing. Boys, have you seen it? Have you both seen it?
Absolutely incredible. Loved it.
I've not seen it.
Gasp. Yeah. Well, I'll send you a link once we're finished and see what you think. Boys, how do we feel about season 21? What are our memories of when it was first broadcast?
I guess you guys actually, for once, are actually old enough to have seen this on.
Yes, indeed we are.
This is about the time we just got a DVD recorder at home, so I was recording every
VHS,
episode.
I think. You're getting ahead of yourself there.
You had a DVD player in 1984. You are a Time Lord.
No, we had one in 1982.
DVD player.
Oh, sorry, did I say DVD? Sorry. Yeah, VHS.
We didn't get ours a year later, but I think I've talked about it elsewhere. Kenny, where were you? What was going on? Right, let's do the thing I like doing. Where were we all in the first few months of 1984? Tom, what were you up to? Can you remember where you were? What was going on?
Oh gosh, I was at college studying mechanical engineering, and not being very happy in it. I decided I'd wanted to be a journalist, so I'm trying to find ways of segueing from mechanical engineering into journalism. It was not an easy move. So that was my kind of obsession around about that time.
Kenny, where were you?
I would have been midway through primary 4 and was so excited for this season because of the Radio Time special, which I mentioned recently during our Warriors of the Deep chat. And there was obviously lots of pictures of what was coming up with the Malice and the Sea Devils and little previews of each Storio. It's like a chocolate biscuit. And there was the previous thing like the Doctor and Frontiers found out that every Time Lord learns that his TARDIS and there's not his castle and things like that. So nice little teasers.
Yeah, I was in 84. I was in primary 6, and probably really deeply, a proper, as much as you could be when you're 10 years old, as a real proper fan by this point. I would have been probably got lots of the books for Christmas. I remember this was obviously very soon after the Five Doctors, which had just been incredibly exciting. And I remember the trailer special trailer for this season that was broadcast. I only saw it once, I think, but I always remember the spinning TARDIS and the kind of Quantel sort of zooming in and out of various clips. We'll do the usual thing when these sets are announced. We'll go through each story one by one, say what we think of it. So we begin with Warriors of the Deep. Now, Kenny and I have had a bit of a chat about this recently because we were talking Sea Devils in the build-up to the Sea Devil Week, or Sea Devil Sunday, which we had yesterday at the time of recording. Hope everyone saw the comic cover I posted in honour. So, Tom, your thoughts on Warriors in the Deep, please.
Well, conflicted, because at this time I was kind of becoming a bit more jaded about Doctor Who. I was really looking forward to this because the Sea Devils had been one of my favourite creatures. But what I'm interested in asking you two is that presumably when this, neither of you would have remembered the Sea Devils. Mm-hmm. You'd maybe have read the novelisation.
Yep.
It wouldn't have the same kind of, obviously not memories. It wouldn't have the same impact, I think. For me, waiting for the Sea Devils to return was a huge, huge big deal. Whereas people your age, you weren't waiting for them to return. You were just waiting for them to appear.
Yeah, it was interesting because I'd read the Cave Monsters, I'd read the Sea Devils, I'd probably read the Making of Doctor Who by this point, so was kind of aware, and it was that weird sort of stage of being a Doctor Who fan when I didn't really know any other Doctor Who fans. I didn't have a huge depth of knowledge in the series, but I was still I'd already probably started to pick up Received Wisdom, and it felt like I should be excited about the Sea Devils turning up. I remember Davison quite clearly in the trailer talking about Silurian battle cruisers and just being like, oh wow, this is going to be amazing. Were you anticipating the Sea Devils, Kenny?
Oh yeah. Really looking forward to them because I'd loved the novelisation and visualised it and was very excited to see what they looked like, because obviously at this point we'd no idea how they spoke, what they sounded like or anything like that. So
yeah, that's fair.
When we heard them, obviously it's fairly faithful the way they sound, compared to the original. So yeah, that was. I
think I was anticipating it, looking forward to it, but then they broadcast the adventure. that kind of spoiled everything.
It's weird, isn't it? I haven't seen it that many times. I remember liking it when it went out and being struck by the cliffhanger to part one and being struck by the final scene when Turlough's like, they're all dead, and there should have been another way. I've got a feeling I might have seen one of these episodes, one of the Friday nights, you see, up until my granddad, Alison and I used to get sort of every other Friday night, it seemed, or every 2 or 3 Fridays, we'd go out and stay at our granny and grandpa's to give Aileen and Sandy a bit of peace and quiet, and they only did black and white television, so I saw quite a lot of season 21 in black and white, and I've got a memory, it must have been one of the, either episode 2 or episode 4, because it went in on Fridays, that I saw in black and white. I remember getting VHS and really enjoying it. And when we talked about it recently, it was interesting because you and Stevie really went over the coals and were quite thorough about it, and I was sort of reminded of a lot of its faults, but I don't mind it because it's quite fast-paced. Peter Davison starts getting jokes for the first time really since he started, so they're really kind of loosening the belt on him and letting him sort of relax and have fun with it. Turlough, as usual, doesn't get too much to do, and obviously there are huge sort of production sort of shortcomings. But, that's what happened when Margaret Thatcher called an election and threw all the studio schedules into disarray. It's one of these things. They either made it when they made it, or else it didn't get made at all. And that seemed to happen a lot to Doctor Who in those days. I think it's one of those ones, maybe with a different director, maybe if they did a couple more weeks of preparation time, it might be a little better, but, I don't know.
Or if they doubled the production budget to maybe £200. But for me, this actually annoyed me for all sorts of reasons other than Doctor Who. One of my other passions is Hammer horrors, and I love Ingrid Pitt,
of course.
Countess Dracula and whatever. And she's in this for some reason. I'm not quite sure why she agreed to do it. But the scene, what's the name of the big pantomime horse?
The Merca.
The Merca. That couldn't look more like a pantomime horse. It's just embarrassingly awful. There's no reason to have it. They should never have had it. And the scene where she tries to karate chop it, I guess in the last episode, I can't remember.
I think it's the end of part 3, because then the thing turns on the Doctor and Tegan, and
her martial arts stance in that was actually more embarrassing than the Merca itself. It was just awful. And every time I see Ingrid Pitt in anything else now, I can't help thinking, what possessed you, woman?
I tell you, she's much better in Who Dares Wins when it comes to sort of dishing out death and being violent and awful.
Yeah, she definitely has a fine body of work.
I quite like, the Sea Devils in their kind of uniform with a kind of imperial uniform.
Oh, they look terrible.
Oh, really?
Why would they look? Yeah, I think we talked about this briefly before. Why would they look like Japanese or Chinese sort of soldiers? Bizarre.
Well, I just think if you're going to bring them back exactly as they were in 1972, then okay, fair enough. I suppose you could, but I just thought it was an interesting idea to kind of give them some kind of formality. I quite like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I suppose you could retcon it, and this idea is copyright me, Big Finish, or anyone else if you're listening. Maybe it wasn't the fact that the Sea Devils look Chinese or Japanese or Oriental. Maybe Oriental or Chinese or Japanese people look like Sea Devils. Who can say which came first?
Yeah, I don't think Ken was going to want to steal that idea from you.
I can imagine a Big Finish short trip using that and winning an award or winning a prize. With no disrespect, I'm very tired that I mentioned this. Right, so after Warriors on the Cheap, as it became affectionately known with some people, we have the excellent The Awakening.
Yeah.
What's everyone's thoughts on that?
Really enjoyed it at the time.
Yeah.
Really atmospheric.
Pretty creepy.
Yeah.
I think you can't go wrong when you've got an English village near Wiltshire with a church in it. There's some destruction. The church has some sort of devilish little face in it. So yeah, and of course that location where they shot that is very near where my in-laws live. I've never actually been there, but I thoroughly intend to go next time the weather's good and to travel down and get some pictures there. So
have any of you ever seen a famous kind of portmanteau series film starring Karen Black, I think, called Trilogy of Terror?
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Have a look at it. You'll find references to it on YouTube. The first two are kind of so. The third, as always happens, it's always the last story in these films that is the best. And this one is about this old demonic wooden African doll that comes to life and tries to, and it's only about 4 inches tall, and it terrorizes this woman in her apartment until she finally manages to trap it in an oven. And that's what the demon in this always reminds me of.
Right.
But that's completely lost on you two because you haven't seen it.
I think I have seen some. It does ring a bell now, actually. I think I have seen something about it, or maybe one of those Carnage Count type videos or something. Yeah, I really like The Awakening. I watched it a few years ago and was struck by how it. I think the satirical tweet I posted was, I've just watched the Awakening. It does a very good job of distilling the essence of the Fifth Doctor Adventures as produced by Big Finish. 9 out of 10. It felt really quintessentially Doctor Who. It does that thing which they do a couple of times where they team him up with a female scientist of an approximate age to the actor playing the Doctor. Obviously, and it's another member of the cast of the Liverbirds. And it's bizarre that the Doctor has a better relationship with this guest character than he does with his own companions. It is really one of the worst ones for Mark Strickson when he really, he gets locked in a shed or a cow hut or something for the bulk of it. Interesting because we see another member of Tegan's family. I think she's maybe Rose or Martha maybe only come close, or maybe Donna actually, now I think about it, for representation of the different parts of her family. I like it. It doesn't outstay its welcome. And the location work is gorgeous. It's a
two-parter, isn't it?
Yeah. And it features a Blue Peter presenter in a small role, which is always fun.
Is that the first two-parter since The Rescue, or has there been one?
Oh, no, there's been
couple. King's Demons, Sontaran Experiment.
King's Demon,
Black Orchid, of course. So I really like it. I think it holds up very, very well. And it's one of these ones when you watch it, you just think like... And of course, Keith Jane, who'd been so famous as Stig of the Dump, turns up. And I remember being really, really thrilled with that at the time. I was really delighted because I really enjoyed that series. It's one of these ones when you sort of think, why can't it be as good as this all the time?
Yeah, I love the fact that the Malice, which is a great name as well, M-A-L-U-S, that was they play on Malice, and the fact it's a giant head, it's not just your normal sized monster. The fact you get the impression that there's a lot more of it beneath the ground trapped in the church.
Definitely.
And I like that. I thought that was something a bit different and belching smoke.
Yeah, because you always imagine it sort of maybe if they'd had the budget or the ability to do it, that the final episode might have ended with the full size thing bursting out from the church and looming over the village, and one of those. If anyone listens that does that, AI generative stuff on Twitter, that's a challenge for you. I remember my mum being very unimpressed at the small malice vomiting green gunk all over the TARDIS in part 2. She thought it was very unnecessary. So, on the subject of unnecessary, we now come to Frontios by the late Christopher Hamilton Bidmead. Now, I'm going to start us off here because when I did my big watch through of Doctor Who, which I started in 2008, finished in 2013, and I keep meaning to do another one, this was one of two stories that almost made me want to give up. There are a lot of good performances in it. There's some good ideas. I remember my mum and I sort of saying to Alison when the lad was getting pulled under the ground that this was proper Doctor Who. This is the sort of thing it used to do well. Proper attempts at atmosphere and scare, but it's so leaden and it's so dull and it takes so long to get going and to get anywhere. I have very mixed feelings on Frontios. I often think it kind of topples under the weight of its own kind of seriousness. What do you two think?
Well, that's kind of what I thought, actually.
Oh, really? Oh,
Great
well.
minds.
See, I thought that the concept of it is fantastic. The fact you've got the TARDIS being destroyed, pulled underground, they find bits of it in the caves. Brilliant imagery. And I always really thought this is one of my favourite Davisons until I read the review of it in Doctor Who magazine,
That's right,
which
yes.
contains the eminently quotable line that the Doctor, accompanied by his companions, a schoolboy fetishist and a prostitute, based on their outfits, and just like genius.
Was that Gary Gillard?
It was Gary Gillard,
Amazing.
yes. And I think there is a good story in there. The whole, lots of stuff about the digging machine being made out of body parts, which it was reinstated for the novelisation.
Yeah.
But it's a story that if they had a huge budget and somebody with a sense of humour had been allowed to rewrite it, not just the grimness of Mr. Bidmead who forgets that you can have a bit of a laugh in life sometimes, then it definitely needed a proper script edit. And
I think it's one that would have maybe benefited from losing an episode just to make it a bit tighter. It's interesting to think of what if The Awakening had been 3 episodes and this had been 3 episodes. It's obviously they did a lot of 3-episode stories a few years later, and they'll work very well because you don't outstay their welcome. It's a weird one because there is a lot of really good stuff. Peter Gilmore is in it, and he's amazing. Mark Strickson gets something to do for once when you get a little bit of a glimpse into Turlough's history and all that sort of stuff. But it's also there's that whole thing. I think Gary's review talked about 20 minutes is wasted going to get like a battery from a storage room or something, that sort of thing. And I remember Christopher Bidmead writing to DWM and sort of saying, I can't argue with anything that he said, I'll do better next time, which was just glorious. Now, of course, Frontios ended on a cliffhanger and took us into Resurrection of the Daleks. First time the Daleks had been properly in the series since Destiny of the Daleks in 79. Cameos and 5 Doctors notwithstanding. Kenny, what's your thoughts on Resurrection?
Bit of a mess. There's some great ideas in there, but the execution is unfortunately quite ham-fisted, overly violent. I think Davros is really well written. Davros is interesting, scheming and duplicitous, and I like that. And Davison well written for. We get to see his fillings for the first time this season, and a nice wee flashback as they're going through his mind, but. And it looks great as well. The music from Malcolm Clarke, very depressing and moody, miserable. Why did they get him to do Warriors in the Deep? Because that's been quite a nice tie-in with the Sea Devils. Yeah. But there's just something about it. I mean, I liked it at the time. Looking at it now, very flawed. Interesting characters like Lytton, Rodney Bewes showing up.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah.
Rula Lenska being Rula Lenska.
Hold on there, Sparky. Rodney Bewes was very good. What was the famous line?
I can't stand the confusion in my mind.
Apart from that, then.
My dad hated Rodney Bewes. That's one thing I remember. Is like I'm sort of, oh God, not him. when it started, and I was really annoyed that what's her face from Play School was in it because I thought she was awful.
Oh yes.
Is it Chloe Ashcroft? Is that her name?
That's the one. Yeah.
Oh, was she in it? Right.
Of course, it features the legendary Maurice Cole. Because a few years ago, I became evangelistic about Philip Martin's Gangsters, and
Maurice Cole.
And he's did I say Maurice Cole? Who's that? Maurice Cole's someone else. It'll come back to me. But yeah, Maurice is amazing, and it's fascinating that the only time the Doctor and Lytton meet is in the cliffhanger resolution They barely say a word to each other, if anything. And then when Lytton dies in Attack of the Cybermen, a few stories later, Colin goes into absolute spasms of grief, and it's like, wait a minute, you barely met him. Who's script editing this mess of a show anyway? You know.
I like Lytton though.
Oh, he's
the actor
great.
was very good.
Brilliant character.
Was he from Howard's Way? Is that where I saw him?
That's
before?
the one.
Yeah. He also features in the BBC's early 80s adaptation of Day of the Triffids. He's very good in that. Yes, Kenny, you mentioned the flashback. I remember the flashback. I was ecstatic with the flashback. But that's the sort of thing. I think when you're 10 and your only source of Doctor Who
flashback.
Well, it's the Doctor's brain is getting absorbed by the Daleks and stuff. And I remember a lot of people complaining that you didn't see Leela. And I sort of thought, when I became aware of this and became aware that people didn't like this, I thought, well, he's keeping Leela sort of secret so that she can stop the Daleks when they invade Gallifrey. That's what's going on there. Easy. But I remember not knowing who some of the people were that flashed up on the screen and being thrilled at little glimpses of the Brigadier or Ben or Harry or whatever. And it was the sort of thing that sort of thing was a nice little Easter egg for young fans, I think, you know, because it was... as we were sort of learning of the history of the programme at that point, this generation that came in with the Five Faces and all that, it was nice to see this little representation. But I do agree with you, Kenny. I think it's a mess. Gareth wrote a really good, really funny sort of takedown thing of it in DWM years ago when he sort of... the Black Daleks to-do list. You know, plant gas canister in London, attack the Time Lords, duplicate the Doctor, Tegan and Turlough, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
It's all over the place, and it just really highlights, I think, the danger of your script editor, who's maybe asleep at the wheel by this point, writing for the programme with no one to kind of keep him in check. I always think that Saward was, I've said this a million times, Saward was not the man for the job.
Yeah, you room 103'd him after all.
I did, and it's kind of, it's a shame, you know, if John Nathan Turner hadn't been living it up in a convention in Los Angeles or Missouri or whatever the weekend that script was finished, he might have been able to tidy up, but probably not. I don't know. It's a shame. Every time I go to watch Resurrection, I always think, okay, a bit of Resurrection, not bad, and it always ends up being 100 times worse than I possibly sort of imagined. It's a real shame. And of course, we lose Tegan at the end. How did we feel about that?
I was sad because I liked her. I liked the fact she was not your average companion.
I remember kind of liking the way she stropped off because it made me feel, you know, I was always paranoid, especially as I got older, about how childish the Doctor Who was, and that if my parents saw it, you always want your parents to like the things that you watch. But the more of the longer it went on, the more embarrassed I got with other people in the room watching it. And I was kind of glad about the way that she left, because I thought, well, she's leaving because this is a really grown-up programme where lots of people get killed. That was my reaction.
Right, that's fair. I can see that.
Although one thing I haven't mentioned, I absolutely love the colours of the Dalek Supreme. Those white spheres, as I'm holding up for the benefit of our YouTube viewers, the character options version. So yeah, gorgeous.
Very smart.
It was 2 episodes. Were they longer episodes or were they just regular size?
Yes, they cut them down because of the Winter Olympic schedule, so they just put them down, and that proved to be the pilot for what became the Colin 50-minute episode.
Yeah, instead of being shown as 4, it was stuck out, and I think it went out on a different evening, didn't it? Did it go out on a Wednesday instead of? I seem to remember. It's funny what sticks in your head. So after Resurrection of the Daleks, it's time for a story which writes out another companion, brings in another companion, and also features another Hammer horror starlet. Yes, Planet of Fire. What do we think of Planet of Fire? Kenny loves it because he goes there on his holidays every year.
Yeah.
Heading again in February, boys.
Good.
Do you go every year, Kenny?
At least once, if we can, yeah.
Just because of this show?
No.
All right.
Dave's being ironic. That's what was one of my first reasons for wanting to go there, but it's just so lovely and really laid back. Weather's good all year round. People are very friendly. So, yeah, I do like my Lanzarote.
Nothing wrong with that. What do we think of Planet of Fire as a story?
I saw this fairly recently. I think you two, we must have done a show.
I think we did. I think we did years ago, yeah.
It's fine. You know, I like Peter Wingard in it. I like Perry. You know, I always did like her. It's okay. You know, I just... this was at a stage, as I said earlier, I was getting a wee bit jaded. about it. There was very little in this series that excited me until we get to Androzani.
Right. What's your thoughts on it, Ken?
I think it's good in places. It's a bit of a mess in others, and the Master's having a very strange plan. I mean, the fact he shrunk himself, it's just like, oh, next time I will get you, Doctor. It's just sort of like cartoon villain.
Yeah, not
like, I mean, what next? Because he's been messing about with his tissue compression eliminator. So.
Listeners, do not mess about with your tissue compression eliminator if you're not being supervised by an adult. It's a weird one. Barbara Shelley, who I was alluding to a moment ago, is completely wasted. It's just shocking. I remember the last time I watched it just being appalled. But there's some interesting stuff. Perry's established very well. The Doctor and Peter Davison and Mark Strickson give you a real good sense that there's a real friendship between the Doctor and Turlough by this point. Turlough leave it. I remember, I think it's one of the most effective sort of leaving scenes, you know, because Strickson is so dry. He's so laid back about it, and it's, you know, look after the old man and all, or something like that. Look after him. He does get into the most terrible trouble. It's brilliant. But I think novelisation does it very well. When it says something like, he turned once, he's walking up the ramp into the spaceship, and he turned once, and without a wave he was gone, and that's where it leaves it. There's no coda with the Doctor and Perry talking about her 3 months left of her vacation where she'll stay with him. It's a weird one. Again, I think the last time I watched it in sequence, I thought it was terrible, but when it came out in VHS in 1998, I thought it was amazing. It's the pluses and negatives of watching Doctor Who in sequence and in context they're very varied. And I remember when I watched season 21 as a whole, I was very disappointed by a lot of it. But I think watching each story on its own, you get away from that overarching sort of sense of, you know, that a lot of the stories sort of bring on their own. They're maybe a bit better. What's next after Planet of Fire? It's the Caves of Androzani. Of course. Caves of Androzani. My sister and I have this horrible habit, just to amuse ourselves, where we deliberately mispronounce words. And one time, because my sister worked in HMV for a couple of years as well after she left uni, and a customer had asked her about a particular Doctor Who DVD, and she said, yes, the Caves of Androzani. And the customer corrected her on the pronunciation, and Alison was like, yeah, I know, I'm just being silly. So this was a big deal for me, because I didn't become a Doctor Who fan until Peter Davison took over, and I can still remember walking up to Cubs, or maybe I'd started Scouts by that point because I turned 11. I was just in that point of crossing over, but I remember walking up to Cubs just in a state of like mind blown at the change and the abruptness of it, and how the Doctor sacrificed himself for Perry, and it was amazing. It blew my mind. I think it's a wonderful story. What do you two think?
It's funny how you mentioned Cubs, because I've got memories of, we had a Cub visit to Cambuslang Fire Station the night that episode 4 was on. So I didn't get to see all of it until it came to the regeneration. We're actually back in the social area,
right?
So the regeneration happened, and everybody was like, yeah, in the background, and I went up close. This is also when I discovered I was really short-sighted, so I had to be really close to the screen to watch it, and seeing it there. And then thankfully my dad had recorded it in Riverdale 2000, so I was able to watch the full thing when I got home. But it was just amazing, just epic. And again, this story has the second sighting of Peter Davison's fillings of the season, and it is epic. It's just Robert Holmes is back in business with an absolute bang, and it's the feel of it. I mean, Roger Lim's music, I've never been a particularly big fan of his, but those miserable droning tones of his suit this absolutely perfect, like those bells of doom sound that we get throughout. And it's just a perfect casting, brilliant direction, and a virtually flawless script. It is pretty much, if only Doctor Who was this good every week.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was the diamond in the rough as far as this season's concerned. And there was a touch of, I felt every time I watch it, I haven't seen it that often, but when I do watch it, there's a touch of Phantom of the Opera about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Just because of the villain.
Masked villain, underground layer.
Yep. And it is, as Kenny says, the script is great. Davidson's brilliant. So, you watch it thinking, oh God, I wish Peter wasn't leaving.
Yeah.
But it's great, and Holmes is obviously a fan favourite, but he's a hero. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, he writes the Doctor very well, and if you watch Davison's first few stories, he has this sort of gentle, dry sarcasm that he deploys, and then it vanishes for like a year and a half, and he just becomes Joe Exposition. But it's back in spades in this story, and he's really, really good. It's astonishing that not that he waited until he was leaving to play it that good, because I think he was always committed, but he is phenomenal because he's taking it so seriously, and because he takes it seriously, you take it seriously. Nicola Bryant is criminally underrated. She is brilliant in this. She works really well opposite him, really well opposite Shaz Jack. There's the added frisson of Peter Davison's co-star from Sink or Swim coming in to join him.
Oh yes,
I forget.
Mr. Glenister.
Thank you. I forgot. I was drawing on his name there.
Robert Glenister.
That's the one. And that's nice. It's like when Sean Parks turned up in The Impossible Planet, opposite DT. That was really nice. Or when Chris Thingy turned up in the final episodes of Peter Capaldi's first series. It's nice to see actors reunited with other actors they've worked with closely. It gives it an extra spark. It's a brilliant script. Graham Harper just deserves all the credit. And as you say, it's a shame it couldn't always be this good. When you compare it to the sort of plodding aspects of Warriors of the Deep in Frontios, it's like they've put a bomb put under it. And then after this, we get the Twin Dilemma.
We do.
I'd like Tom to tell us his thoughts on the Twin Dilemma. Tom laughs for the benefit of our YouTube viewers.
Well, put it this way, I've never watched it since. So that's always something.
Wow.
Whoa. Damn.
All right, I tell you, if I have to think of one thing that I like about it, round about the time, I think a year earlier or a few months earlier, there was a televised drama called Diana, based on R.F. Delderfield's novel of the same name, which had Patsy Kensit in it, but it was also Jenny Seagrave who played the title character when she was older. Her boyfriend in it was played by Kevin McNally, which is the first time I'd ever seen him. And he's in this, isn't he?
Yes,
he is indeed. Yes. Yep, Hugo Lang. Yep.
Doctor, I'm stuck.
You remember that scene? Obviously imprinted.
It did imprint. So I like him. There we go. I would like to get if there was an airlock. You know what happened to Katrina at the end of
Master Plan episode 4?
If we could get both of the twins in that airlock, I would absolutely. I think that'd be a brilliant thing to do for the good of mankind. My God, they were annoying.
Yes,
and they were doubly annoying because there's two of them.
Yeah, the boys are all grown up now. Of course, are both, from what I can see, appearing on the Blu-ray box set. That would be really interesting to see what they have to say about it now.
Apart from everything else, all of that is good knockabout fun. I'll tell you what's not good knockabout fun. Having the Doctor become a effing misogynist and trying to kill Perry in the safety of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything more misjudged, and it says a great deal about John Nathan Turner at the time. If he thought that was remotely consistent or even appropriate, it was just a shocking way to start off Colin's tenure.
Absolutely. Your thoughts then, Ken?
Everything that I said about the Caves of Androzani, flip it. It looks awful. It sounds awful.
It'll go.
The direction is clunky.
It'll go a long way.
And and Edwin Richfield is playing Mestor, who of course we know is Captain Hart in the Sea Devils. Completely wasted here.
That is bizarre, isn't it?
There's just that line when the Doctor enters and watch it, Mestor.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. This is what I like about it. Colin's brilliant from the word go. I think there's a brilliant scene in one of the first scenes with Nicola, and she's like, "You were sweet." He kicks the door open for emphasis, and it's just like he's very, very funny. He's obviously
yuck.
He's obviously
But that's
he knows what he's doing, and it's just a shame that they put him in that coat.
that technique that he had, and it became his kind of calling card with a overacting. You know, I mean, he does it in almost every adventure.
Again, he's very, I think, because everything that happened over the short time he was playing Doctor on television, his good stuff is really overlooked. Watch him in Vengeance and Varos. You'd swear.
I really like him.
You'd swear he'd been playing it for about 10 years. He's amazing. And you can tell his charisma and enthusiasm are really infectious. But it's just like, the way I justify this story is that it takes place in the same universe as the Underwater Menace and the Space Pirates and the Horns of Nimon. There are some areas of time and space that look a bit cheap and chintzy and cheerful. And it's, I remember when this was another one that I saw. I think it must have been either episode 2 or episode 4. I think what's the cliffhanger where the Doctor thinks Perry's been blown up? Is that in
2?
Right. I think it may have been part 2 that I saw over at my Granny and Grandpa Baines. Because that was another one. A lot of my first experience of Colin's costume was in black and white.
You lucky man.
So it wasn't as bad. But I have an affection for this one. I would much rather watch this one than a lot of other Doctor Who. And that's not even from an ironic sort of sense. It rattles along. It's very well paced. I mean that as in it's quite speedy. I don't mean it's like a sort of gooey substance. Which the big giant slugs would leave everywhere, but it falls short alarmingly because it's just come after a story that was directed by the best director Doctor Who's ever had, and then you get Peter Moffat, who is the definition of, as Gareth always says, open in a wide shot and cut to a close up occasionally. He's terrible, quite frankly.
Yeah. One other memory of the Twin Dilemma. When the video came out, it was a Woolworths exclusive.
That's right. I had to go to Johnston.
Yeah, I got mine in Rutherglen. And I took my copy into Glasgow when Colin Baker was in tour around 1992 and met him at the stage door and got him to sign it for me. And he was like, am I only fit for a Woolworths exclusive? And was very deprecating about it in his typical Colin self. So he was brilliant. That was the first time I'd met him.
Amazing.
And thankfully, I've met him a lot over the years and got to know him quite well.
Yeah, God bless him. It's going to be. I'm looking forward to sort of seeing, because from what I can see from the trailer for the Blu-ray, he's involved in Behind the Sofa this year on this box set. So it'll be interesting to see what he thinks of everything else. Colin's always been such a, I think it's a phrase we all like to say, he's been always been such a good ambassador for the show, and even to this day, he still takes it very seriously and all that sort of stuff. So a lot of time for Colin. Bonus features, do we know anything very much about the bonus features for this one, Kenny?
Not really. Just had a quick look at the list there. There looks like there's some new effects and revamped versions of some special edition versions of some stories with some 5.1 surround sound mixes and the usual. Yep. And I don't know in terms of documentaries or anything like that, really. I think there's Resurrection's got a making of, which I don't think it had previously.
Okay.
And of course, when the Resurrection original DVD came out, it came in some sort of kinky black rubber wraparound.
That's right, I remember that. I threw it away immediately.
Oh, I've still got mine.
Of course you have.
In fact, I went out and bought 20 copies.
Of course you have, you rascal. No, I think one thing I'm looking forward to in this is that Matthew Sweet he's pulling triple duty, because there's interviews with Mark Strickson, and I think another one with Janet Fielding and
Matthew as well.
Matthew as well. So that would be really interesting.
Matthew Waterhouse, not himself.
Of course. Oh, that'd be good. I'd pay to watch that. It will be a very interesting set, and I'm sure that Kenny is already firing up the Infinite Address book.
Well, actually, first interview for the special edition features has been recorded on Thursday. So,
wonderful.
And there's 3 others lined up, including somebody who we've had on recently for the first time. So who could that be? It'll be music to your ears, that I can promise you.
Glad to hear it. No, yes, very much looking forward to the set. I love the trailer. It has me very interested. I'm drooling almost in anticipation. I really hope that we get a follow-up to one of these little short trailers. Tom, I'll send you it so you can see what I'm gibbering about. So,
appreciate it.
Before we go, my co-host on the Earth 2 podcast, Peter Watson, has sent me his ranking for the seasons.
Greetings, PO3 pickers. Fluff Watson here from the Earth 2 podcast, giving you my rundown of Doctor Who Season 21. At number 7, Frontios. Space slugs. Chameleon with a hat stand. Very generic. At number 6, Planet of Fire. Elton John sings the soundtrack. Hold Me Closer, Tiny Master. New entry at number 5 for a new Doctor, it's the Twin Dilemma, a bold attempt to do something different with regeneration. Also, Good to see another Time Lord. Down to number 4, it's Resurrection of the Daleks. Is it one of the weaker, convoluted Dalek stories? Not off. At number 3, Warriors of the Deep. Sure, the micro looks poor and the interior of the base is too bright and doesn't really fit with the exterior shots, but it's a cracking story. And at number 2, Caves of Androzani. My old television remote features prominently in that one. And in with a bullet at number 1, it's The Awakening. A cool time travel twist and an interesting baddie. So, do you agree with my rankings? Why don't you write to me at theearth2podcast@gmail.com. And don't forget to put lots of kisses on the bottom. Alright? Not off.
He is wrong,
Interesting.
because it's definitely number 1 is Caves. There's no question about it.
He's not wrong. He has a different opinion. These things
What
are
did he
subjective.
say for number 1?
The Awakening.
Right.
Peter, in his note that he sent me, observes that his old TV remote features prominently in Caves of Androzani.
Yes, I had a Grundig remote control as well like that. I remember watching it. We had that on the telly, and I had that remote control as well.
Excellent.
I wish I still kept it. Could have pretended it was a screen.
You could have
I
done.
must admit, I'd probably put the Daleks at least one place higher for the simple fact that they've got Daleks in it, and for no other reason, even though it's not very good. But I would definitely Androzani would definitely be top.
Yeah, I think I probably would have Androzani top, but I really like The Awakening at the same time. There's Androzani probably is the edge. I think I would definitely have the Twin Dilemma above the Dalek story, because it's a little bit more coherent. I don't know. I think I might even have the Dalek story bottom, actually. I'm not sure. I would need to give it some more thought. But Peter, thank you for sharing that info. Listeners,
Yeah, that was interesting.
how would you rank the stories of season 21? You can email Peter at theearth2podcast@gmail.com, and he'll read them and shrug and maybe think about forwarding them on to us to read out, and doubtless one of our many other season 21 anticipatory episodes. Now, boys, before we go, do we have anything else to add?
No, I'm quite content. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Great to see both of you again. It has been a wee while since the last Blu-ray announcement, so it's good that. But hey, when shall we three meet again?
Indeed.
In thunder, lightning, or in rain, or the time of the next Blu-ray announcement?
not-
Who knows? Or we'll just have lunch
Yes,
before
if we can
Christmas.
manage to sort that out, that would be lovely. Tom, can you think of a song to play out with today?
No, I
Kenny might have one. Oh, Kenny's got one then, has he?
I have indeed. It was something that Tom mentioned earlier. Tom, you mentioned Howard's Way, and I thought, how about Always There?
Oh, yes.
Always
Howard's
There.
Way. That's sung by Marty Webb and composed by Simon May with lyrics by Don Black.
Perfection. Listeners, thank you for joining us. Mind how you go. We'll see you again soon. Over to you, Marty.